Welcome to the Landy Peek podcast. I'm your host and friend, Landy Peek, and I am thrilled to have you join me. In each episode, we will explore what makes life truly fulfilling: happiness, deep connections, and self-discovery. Together, we'll uncover that happiness is not a destination, but a way of living. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Welcome, friends. This is Landy Peek, your host and confidant for the Landy Peek podcast. So often, the end of the year focuses on all of those big accomplishments. As 2024 draws to a close, this episode's coming out the very last week of December. We start to see all of the posts about how much money people made, the successful book launches, the new businesses or new jobs. And those are amazing and worthy of celebrating. But often, it sends us into a comparison game. And when I seem to find myself in that comparison game, I always remind myself that that's their journey and not mine. And that doesn't mean that that thing that I envy someone else for isn't going to come my way. Maybe it's a new house or a certain thing like, oh, my sister has a book coming out and there's a little bit of like, but I want to write a book. It doesn't mean that that's not coming for me. It doesn't mean that that thing that you are wanting and craving and desiring isn't coming for you. It just means that they're on a different timeline than you, than me. And that always helps me reframe. Sometimes to get to that same destination, one person might take the jet and the other person takes the scenic route. It doesn't mean that we don't get there. It means that we get different, enriching experiences. So this year was a very different year for me. And as 2024 comes to a close, there are definitely a lot of emotions coming up. I made a lot less money this year. And I gotta tell you, there's a little bit of sadness. And even a little voice that's saying, quick, launch something. Make that quick last bit of money. Raise up that end of the year number. And I honor that. And I allow myself to really acknowledge those feelings. There's nothing wrong with them. And then I took a moment to really reflect on my much quieter year and how equally or even more important the things that happened to me this year are for my life. They're the things that make your heart full and your soul happy. For me this year was all about taking that step back and pausing and really getting curious about what really matters to me. Who do I want to be? How do I want to show up in this world? And the things that I focused on were strengthening my relationships. And that's something that I'm really proud of. I took the extra time to reconnect with friends, to spend more time with friends and family, to really focus on my relationship with my husband. I step back and I look and I'm like, whoa, my kids are doing way better this year than they did last year. They're happier, which is honestly the best feeling in the world for me. And that doesn't mean they're happy all the time. No, we still have our ups and downs. We still have the big fits and fights and things like that are just normal childhood, parenthood life. But overall, there's a difference. There's more confidence. There's more security. Their smiles and laughter have really become the soundtrack of my year. And spending that extra time connecting with friends, spending that extra time with family. It was really hitting a refresh button on my life. Sure, I made a lot less money, but I wouldn't change it because those deeper connections really filled me in a way I didn't know I was craving. So, as I sit and look at my different year, how I'm not measuring all of the amazing things that I've done, but really looking at what are the life shifts that I have made? How much better do I feel sitting here December of 2024 than I did December of 2023, where I was really feeling stressed out and overwhelmed and a lot more anxious. And it's not saying that life is perfect. It's saying that I have a lot more balance. It's saying that I'm a lot happier. It's saying that I gave myself what I needed in this last year, and I wouldn't change it. And I'm going to invite you, as we shift into focusing on 2025, to look at things a little bit different. To get curious about what are the little moments of joy and positivity that you're craving? What are the things that really do bring you joy? Maybe you've discovered in the last year new ways to support yourself or brought in new supports around you. Or maybe it's a way you can better support your loved ones without draining you. Sometimes it's those small everyday things that often get overshadowed but are so worth celebrating. So I'm going to invite you to raise an imaginary glass to the things that truly count, to the personal growth that makes our lives richer in ways that money can't buy. I'm going to invite you to allow yourself the grace to say, I made it through. Because sometimes that's all we can do, right? It's not about focusing on things like the money that we can bring in or the job or the book. It's not even about what I did for myself, because that's an up level, right? Taking that time and space. Sometimes it's just, I survived it. I'm still standing. And that's okay if that's where you are. But it's really raising a glass and allowing you to celebrate exactly where you are. You did it. No matter what it was, you did it. Celebrating those little things, celebrating whatever positive things you can bring in, even if it's, I'm still standing. And as we shift our look into 2025, I'm going to invite you to think about this year a little bit differently. Let go of the idea of resolutions, because we all know they don't work, right? We set those resolutions and then by February 1st, we're not doing most of them. By March 1st, we're not doing anything. But instead, explore various ways to make this year truly yours. From celebrating what's to come to reflecting on what you've learned. So join me as we get cozy and look forward to 2025. So one of the things I'd love to start with is looking at the bright side. What are you looking forward to this year? I would love us to shift away from the resolutions, because resolutions always feel like there's something wrong with you, right? I need to lose weight. I need to do this. I need to do that, right? Exercise more, drink less, drink more water. Whatever it is, the idea and the frame is supposed to be supportive, but it doesn't feel supportive. It feels like you're really focusing on the things you're lacking and trying to bring it in. And that's not the way our brains work. That's not the way that we're going to shift things. So what if we looked at things a little bit different? So I've got a couple ideas that I'm going to bring in to my new year, and that I searched online and really found a lot of different ideas in ways to celebrate the new year without the negativity of this is what I'm lacking in. So what if we looked at the bright side? What if you and I sat and wrote down, what are the things that we're looking forward to? Maybe it's a friend's wedding, an exciting trip, or just cozy nights with your favorite book or a show. Sometimes if we can make a list of the things that we are looking forward to, those things that we're anticipating, we can set a positive tone for the year. It's saying that I am so excited and really looking forward to a girls' trip with my bestie. It's saying that I'm really excited and looking forward to spending time with family in the mountains. It doesn't have to be big. It can be, I'm really looking forward to, and this is something I'm so excited. In 2025, January of 2025, I am launching a podcast series about me in the middle, this middle-ish stage of life. And I've done so many fabulous interviews with incredible women that every single one, I'm so excited. I can't wait for you to hear them. I am so jumping out of my skin to get these out. And I'm also allowing myself to pace and say, you know what? I'm not going to rush this. I'm not rushing the editing process. I'm not pushing myself. I'm allowing it to happen. But I am so excited for it to come. So sometimes when we're shifting, instead of looking at how we're deficient, what we need to bring in, what if we started looking at what we're excited about? How those little joys, the seasonal changes, can elevate our everyday life. My second idea is to sit and write my lessons learned in 2024. So this is really my time to reflect on the past year. And I just did this, where I really allowed myself to see where I came from over the last year. The things that felt good. The things that maybe didn't work out the way I thought they did. And it was so empowering as I sat down and really looked at how I prioritized me. There is such power in recognizing our own personal growth. There is such power in letting ourselves look at the lessons as lessons and not failure. And it's taking those and allowing ourselves to carry on. It's being able to share our own personal stories about our growth because we learn from each other. And so as we're ending 2024, I really invite you to sit and look at 2024. Not in a, I did this really great and I did this really bad, but in a, what did I learn? Maybe what I gained. Maybe how I grew. But instead of like I was feeling that, I didn't hit that mark that I always said I would hit, being open to, but I did something different. And then what you're looking forward to in the year to come. And just notice how that shifts from sitting down and writing goals or New Year's resolutions to this is how 2024 was for me. And this is what I'm excited about. I know sometimes that transition from year to year can be a struggle. Maybe you're sitting down and looking ahead to 2025 and you're like, there's nothing I want to look forward to. What if you created some things? What if you started saying, maybe I will create things that I can look forward to? Like plan a vacation. And it doesn't have to be big, right? These can be something small, a day trip or an overnight trip to somewhere that you want to go. It can be a big vacation, but it doesn't have to be. This last year, our family has taken a lot of mini vacations, which has been so fun and able to change our energy. Sometimes it's just going up and spending a day in the mountains. Sometimes it's a longer weekend where we've gone exploring. It's really incredible in how it's changed my energy, especially in these little mini breaks. Something to plan for, not just an escape, but an adventure. We all need that time and space to get away, to connect. And I've found, honestly, we do a lot of road trips. That time in the car where you're stuck and no one can get out and no one can escape has been so good for our family. The games we have played, the songs we have sung, the things that we have talked about have really created a deeper bond. So it's not just about balancing work and life, but sometimes it's about creating those experiences where we can connect at a deeper level. So another thought for the new year is looking at how you can prioritize your relationships. Because we know from research that having those deep connections not only increases your physical health, but your mental health as well. So instead of overwhelming yourself with new commitments, what if we looked at what you have? Or, like I have done a lot this year, is reconnecting. What if you prioritized and just looked at 1 or 2 relationships this year that you really want to focus on? It could be that bestie that you tend to text every once in a while, but you really don't have a strong connection. It's coming back and reconnecting. I did this with my best friend. We were great at texting every once in a blue moon. And it's like she's always that person, it doesn't matter how long we've been apart. The minute we're back together, it's like we're right back where we left off. But we focused on a lot more phone calls and conversations. It became a priority and not an afterthought. Maybe it's about scheduling a regular coffee date or phone call with a friend or a family member. It's looking at how can you nurture 1 or 2 relationships to really enhance your own happiness. The next thing as we look at 2025 is how can you bring in more celebrations for yourself? If you're anything like me, you really just kind of push through as a checklist all the things that you do. I've shared how I hit monetary goals in my business and was like, check, bump up the goal, not taking the time to celebrate the effort. And I think if we honestly take a moment and start to celebrate the little things that we did, start to celebrate, oh my gosh, I love the serendipitous moments where I'm like, I want a close parking spot. And then the car happened to me at the grocery store this morning. I want a close parking spot. There was a car that was literally backing out in my favorite spot so I could just pull in. I love that. I'm like, thank you. I love those little serendipitous moments. It's looking at how can we celebrate all of the little accomplishments that we have. Oh my gosh, I survived the day, right? I was really proud of myself. I help out with parties for my kids. We're done ahead of time. That's the first ever. I'm usually the one that's scrambling last minute to get stuff. I actually created a schedule and got things done a little bit earlier. It's about shifting your mindset. It's looking at not just what you can do, but who you are and appreciating the right now. It's bringing in more self-love and even acceptance in this is where I am in life, right? That's part of this journey that we're on, is really accepting where we are in life. It can be, here I am, this is it, and I want something different. And that's great. But part of our human journey and our happiness is really that acceptance. It's giving yourself that moment of praise. It's giving your kids too that moment of praise. It's allowing yourself little bits of time to have some self-love. So one of the ideas that I'm curious about that I saw online was having a monthly theme. So instead of a typical resolution, bringing in some kind of monthly theme. And I thought, this is so fun. Don't know if I'm quite committed yet, but I thought I'd share it anyway. What if your monthly theme could be something like creativity or connections or movement? It doesn't have to be set in a rigid goal. It can be really something that's abstract that you can just bring in. And we know that as we spend about 21 days to rewire the brain or something like that, we're laying new neural pathways, but we can do it in a fun, more free-flowing way. One of my friends always finds a word for the year, and it is so fun to watch as she brings in her word for the year and how throughout the year it really does intertwine with everything that's going on in her life. So it's another way that we can bring in something for the year without the strict and rigid things that allow us to fail, right? So the word for the year can serve as your compass. It can help you make decisions. It can help you align with your values or your aspirations. It can be something personal. It can be something that just inspires you or feels good. And I love this because there's no right or wrong. There's no way to fail this. There's no way to really feel bad about this. It's finding a word that resonates with you. And then putting this word somewhere on maybe your bathroom mirror or your refrigerator. It's just a word. But it'll be fun to see how putting up a word might shift your daily life. So I'd love to hear how you are stepping into 2025 in a maybe different way than you have stepped into other years. How are you looking to reframe? How are you allowing yourself to feel and process a lot of emotions? I know 2025 is a big year for a lot of people, and there is a lot of emotions about what's going on in our world around us. And I want to invite you to allow whatever feelings are coming up to be there, to honor those, to say, hey, as we step into the new year, because every new year brings its own challenges and its own emotions and its own stuff that's coming with it. I invite you to look at how can you bring some positivity into 2025? How can you shift how you look at 2025? What supports can you bring in? And I think that is so incredibly valuable. I am a really strong believer, and how I follow my life is bringing in the supports that I need, because we're not meant to do this alone. And we are in a society that I think really does promote that independence of doing it on our own. And as you listen to the interviews coming up in 2025, you'll see the themes that are coming out, right? The things about how we almost pride ourselves in being able to just work through it and doing it on our own. But maybe we need to shift that. Maybe we need to open up. Maybe we need to accept more support and look for support. And I think we're really good at being the support, but we're not always good at receiving it. So I'm going to invite you to look at 2025 as an adventure, possibly a year of growth, a year of joy, a year of celebration. Allow yourself to embrace and look for the small moments. Reflect on your journey. Support yourself and your loved ones. Here's to making this year truly your year. And I want to offer you a gift that might help you through this tumultuous time. And it is my Confidence Catalyst. And it is a free audio. And it's like 8 or 9 minutes long. It's really short. And that's what I love about it. And you can listen to it. It is not your typical affirmation audio, which is really cool. And my clients that have used it have found so much success with it. But it is something that you can absolutely listen to while you're doing dishes, or it can be something that you listen to in a quiet moment of the morning or in the evening, or even as you drift off to sleep. But it is an audio that will help reshape your subconscious It is an audio that will really support that inner you, the shifts that you want to make in this new year, and really just feeling more confident and good about yourself. And because I think every human needs to hear it, and we don't hear it. We don't hear other people tell us how incredible we are, and that's how our brains respond. We are designed to really take into account others' opinions. And so I want you to hear that you are smart and kind and brave and fun and funny and adventurous, and you can do this, and you've got this. And I am so grateful to have you here in my life. I love you and I like you. And I wish you all the happiness for 2020. We'll talk to you in the new year.
Hey, before you go, just a little bit of legal. This podcast is designed for educational purposes only. It is not to replace any expert advice from your doctors, therapists, coaches, or any other professional that you would work with. It's just a chat with a friend, me, where we get curious about ideas, thoughts, and things that are going on in our lives. And as we're talking about friends, if you know someone who would benefit from the conversation today, please share. Because I think the more that we open up these conversations, the more benefit we all get. So until next time, give yourself a big hug from me and stay curious, because that's the fun in this world.